Hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmie from Emmie Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. This is not your first time. Thank you for coming back. So right now I'm going to be doing a ClairTarot reading for everyone. This is an energy update. I woke up this morning with a shift in my, I guess you could say, in my perception, a shift in the way I'm feeling. I don't really know how else to quantify this outside of another layer has been shed. Typically what happens is my feelings will kind of go hand in hand with some of the mundane day-to-day things that I do. And I had been not really taking care of my skin. I had just been allowing, like, my skin to not be moisturized and stuff. And so it kind of is representative of how depleted I feel, because if you don't moisturize your skin, people think that it's just, like you're just being vain. And that, no, if you don't moisturize your skin, there's a very real possibility that your skin is very much depleted of moisture, depleted of nutrients. Okay. And so that's really indicative of how possibly your auric field is also depleted. Okay. Because really the internal circumstance becomes projected externally to varying degrees. If we don't project it just to the outside of our physicality, then sometimes what happens is we project it further out to our environment, the people in our environment. And so I was recognizing this after last night. I began to really take care of my skin, do a deep cleaning, and then I did an exfoliation, and then I did a lot of moisturizing, like a lot of moisturizing. And then I couldn't sleep, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to wake up with my skin looking horrible anyways. And when I fell asleep last night, or actually, I just fell asleep. Who am I kidding? I just fell asleep a couple hours ago. And the dreams were really interesting because a lot of it had to do with me realizing I was giving permission. It was just a weird dream. But when I woke up, I realized I was giving permission for things that I knew it wasn't a good circumstance. I knew this. I knew before the dream ended, like, oh my gosh, I just gave permission for something I didn't really want, you know? And so when I woke up like 5 minutes ago, um, I totally have this aha moment of, like, my dream is telling me something, and oh my gosh, I actually took care of my skin. I think something's finally shifted within me, uh, where the processing of the secondary wounds are now, being better integrated. Because the past, I don't know if you guys have been noticing this, but the past couple days have been really difficult to cope, but there was really nothing going on. It was like just a overloading of feelings, of emotions, and not really understanding where these emotions and feelings were coming from, but just feeling very much overwhelmed, very much almost like unappreciated, which is really, really weird for me personally, because I don't need people's appreciation. That's just not how I function personally. Like, if I 70% at 907, if I do something, it's because it feels right to me. I do it because it feels good to me, to my heart. That's why I never need someone else's appreciation. If I'm going to give to you, it's like, I don't need you to acknowledge. This is not going to be held over your head. I'm not putting it on some spreadsheet and letting you know somewhere down the line, like, look, this is how many times I've helped you. This is how much I've given. You owe me. No, it's like, no, it felt good in that moment, and that's that. I'm on to the next thing, you know? So that was so weird for me to process. And that's when the other day I realized, oh shoot, things that are secondary wounds are what's rising up for people to process. And I think most people were struggling with that. Um, And the struggle comes from not recognizing that it's a secondary type of wounding. A part of you that you thought you had already handled years ago, and it's kind of rising up to be addressed again. Well, that process, I think, has shifted. I think it's finally shifted, and we're able to kind of just like, all right, there's just some stuff going on, and it's fine. We don't feel so overloaded anymore. We'll go ahead and start processing. Well, another revelation came forward. I was watching a bunch of just stuff because I couldn't sleep. And like this aha moment of, what's really going on is what I just explained. And then our sensitivity is increasing. So with the impending another eclipse, my gosh, hey, how many of y'all are tired of these dang eclipses? I'm just saying, can we have a regular basic moon? No super, no blue, no blood, no lunar eclipse, no solar eclipse, just the good old moon circling the sun, doing its own thing on its own time. I'm just like, can we just be basic for a little bit? I'm just really tired. Can we take a nap? Is that what can we do that? So yeah, lunar event coming on Friday. Okay. I think the crying is that a lot of things are coming up that you might not be fully cognitive of. And yes, you say they drain me. That was the next revelation that really shifted something this morning. This rise in our rawness is causing us to be much more sensitive to the unspoken feelings and intentions of other people. Okay. So there's a polarization that's occurred. Well, we've talked about this for a few weeks already. This polarization has caused, a greater divide to be experienced between the two halves. And let's face it, humanity has basically been halved. One group is choosing to see, acknowledge, and try and bring to fruition healing, reunification, just higher levels of consciousness. I wouldn't say this is the right or the good group. It's just one half. The other half is the darker aspects of themselves that they haven't quite addressed is rising up, and it's being showcased. I'm not going to say they're the ugly Freudian slip. I'm not going to say they're the dark or evil half. I'm not going to say that either. They're just another aspect that's coming forward. But a lot of their more childish type characteristics are coming forward. It's more of like comparing and, like, oh, you got more than me. Oh, how come you're doing better than I am? And these are kind of, for the most part, being thought and felt silently, and they don't know how to process. And because the first group that I talked about has become more sensitive, less dense, we're feeling this. Yes, they are hurt and trying to push that shit for sympathy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The difference in sympathy and empathy is people who sympathize are like, oh, I'm sorry. That sucks. And people who empathize, oh my God, I know how you feel. I so know how you feel. How can I help? Like, how can we fix this? So that's the first group, the empathy group. The second group is the sympathy group. And it's a huge divide that's occurred. Well, this huge divide is going to cause a pinching off yet again. We're experiencing again another round of spiritual mitosis. So whatever the sympathy group is doing, if you're part of the empathy group, please try and understand they lack, and this is not to make an excuse. This is to help you better cope with why this is going on, why you don't need to feel targeted and victimized. I mean, if you do, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong how you feel. I'm just saying it's not necessary. Okay. You can choose to feel a different way. see things in a different way. But the sympathy group just really lacks the dimensional level of consciousness to grasp how childish and detrimental their behavior is. But at the same time, that type of resistance is what pulls the bow back, right? That's the resistance that's built when the bow is pulled back before the arrow is launched forward. So as they try and drag you back, that's fine, because they're adding to your forward momentum once you release. That's all it is. That's all it is. We're needing to release. So let me, I totally forgot. I'm pulling cards. Let me not talk so much. Hold on. Let me just pull cards. But this is a shift that's going on. They're going to keep trying. They're really going to keep trying. And that's okay. They can keep trying, because every time they try, every time they go ahead and try and do something with ill intentions, you're still going to benefit from that. You're still going to benefit from it. Okay. It's still going to add in some way, shape, or form to your personal growth. Where's the other cards? So if they want to keep growing you, that's fine. Thank you. Like my videos, you'll see within an hour or so of it ending, there's always going to be, at the very least, 2 thumbs down. It's the same person. And my husband's like, who is that? It's like, who is that? And I said, baby, it's okay, because every time they come to the video, it logs in another view, so and that they're adding to the AdSense. So it's okay. Their haterness is actually adding to our growth. So just let them. And he was like, oh, you're right. I'm like, yeah. I mean, you want to go through my old videos too and thumbs those down, because those are more clicks. It triggers more algorithms. Invite your friends. Click away. So you can definitely see it as like, who keeps doing this? Who keeps being a hater? Or like, oh, look at that. We got ourselves a little fan club for men. So here goes. This is what's going on right now. These are 2 different messages that I get here. Some of us are being birthed from Gaia, the mother, and allowing our wings to expand, okay? This recognition that we don't have to sit in that hole anymore. We can go ahead and fly our way out. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, others of us, the second group, are in our safety hole. This is our spiritual panic room. And we've hidden ourselves away, and here are these hands trying to extract us, like, popping a zit. And so we're like, no, what are you doing? Why are you victimizing us? So there's these 2 groups that have formed, 2 polarities. Whichever your polarity is, I mean, does it really matter to anyone else? Not really. Not really. If you just focus on your growth, whether you're a pimple or an angel being reborn, what does it matter what anyone else is doing or going through? Knowing that even their attempts to try and squeeze you out, it gives you wings. Wow, that's deep. Their attempts to squeeze you out is actually what rebirths you and allows your wings to expand. That's deep. That's deep. It's all about how you choose to see whatever's going on. So as all of this stuff is occurring and we're shifting the way we perceive, we're shifting the filters that we use to interpret the events of our life, you're going to be flying away with your dignity intact. Okay? It's okay. It's really, really, really okay for you to allow yourself to just feel yucky for a day or 2, maybe even 3 days. Sometimes it might need a week. Okay? That's okay. You don't always have to be all positive and high vibe. And, there's this high vibe culture that's actually nothing more than spiritual bypassing. I'm not talking about every single person who participates in a high vibe type of mentality, but this is a very prevalent issue. This high vibe mentality of, oh no, you can't feel negative. You just, oh, you're bringing down the frequency. You're bringing down the vibe and this and that. And it's like, no, I'm human. That's why we came into this life, to feel. If I wanted to be nothing but high frequency, I would have come into this life, into this density, because my soul is very high frequency. I already know what it's like to experience an existence of high frequency. I came into this life specifically to experience the fluctuations of density, meaning the full motion and emotion of a human life. You don't need anyone else's permission to acknowledge how you feel, to process the feelings. I mean, you guys, me processing the way I feel um and sharing the thoughts that go through me as I figure out the best method to cope is not complaining. This is me sharing how I'm processing this life. And in that processing, that elevates my ability to understand, and it furthers my growth. It furthers my growth. I had someone comment the other day. I had someone comment as I was live. I didn't see it while I was live. Thank God. Michael was like, she don't need to see that right now. But I was processing while I was live, and I saw the comment later. And this person was like, I have never seen a psychic speak this way of potential clients. You just obviously don't know how to do it. You need to watch other psychics to see how it's done. Boo boo. Because I guess they had walked in when I was talking about a client having a parasitic circumstance. The client is not parasitic. I'm a parasitic extractor. That's the job. That's the type of session they came for. I'm not complaining about clients. I'm explaining a circumstance that involved the parasitic situation that then breached me. And that's why I couldn't continue with live streams. Well, I want to just say this. The reason most psychics, energy workers, light workers, whatever the hell they want to call themselves, the reason why they never, complain about this is because a large percentage of those individuals are so fucking scared that their clients, their fans, will see that they are human and can be breached. That's the last kind of person you want working on your field, where their ego is so imbalanced that they're afraid to embrace their truth and hide this from you. Check. Check that shit at the door. If whoever you choose cannot be honest, are you being honest with yourself? Are you really going to someone who's going to truly help you? Or are you going to someone who's going to stroke your ego and make you believe that something beneficial is occurring for the benefit, the monetary benefit? Because I'm the kind of person like, look, I can't help you. Here's your money back. Look, it's not in alignment. What I can do is not in alignment with what your expectation is. Our energies are not a good match. Here's your money back. I don't need that profit. Here's your money back. There you go. I'm not about profit. Yes, I have to be compensated for my time, but this is actual real soul work that I do. So you guys have to really be mindful of how you allow the words of others to be processed by your filters. Because I could have totally seen that as like, are you trying to say I'm not as powerful? Well, you know what? There's always going to be someone more powerful. Are you trying to say I'm not as successful? Well, you know what? There's so many other people that's always going to be more successful. So what does any of that matter? It doesn't. It doesn't. So shift your filters, okay? This is about you, how you process the information and the triggers and what you do from there, okay? Sometimes all you have to do is card number 64, the witness. Just observe. Just observe what is going on. Observe the behaviors. Observe how it's affecting you. What are your thoughts regarding these behaviors? How are these interactions further ripening your inner under and understanding of yourself and your soul? Sometimes the most powerful thing to do is allow yourself to see a circumstance with the eyes of a child. Like, what are you talking about? Huh? What? Can you help me understand this? Instead of making assumptions, see it in the eyes of a child. I mean, the children are much more connected to divinity than adults. They haven't had as long in this matrix of programming and control to really embrace the lies, okay, the way adults have. Oh, see, there it is. There it is. And here goes. Our inner child is reaching for the higher levels of consciousness, okay? We want this growth. We do. All of us do. All of us want to grow. There's not a single person. What is that? Oh, good God. um, okay. Do you guys feel like there's something that's kind of been watching or following you for a few days now? Not necessarily something scary, but just this feeling like seeing um just some odd types of things in the periphery. When you look, nothing's there, like movement, white forms. Okay, okay, thank you, I'm not the only one. So here goes. What is this other form? Our internal mother seems to be embracing two children. What is this unseen child? What is that? Uh, what is that? I guess our higher selves, for those that's experiencing this, and if you're not, it's perfectly fine. You're not behind or anything like that. I just got to take this off. You're not behind. Um, there's nothing wrong with you. You're progressing at your own rate. But for some of us, I think what's going on is we really have dropped some of that density and we have raised ourselves up to a higher degree of dimensional consciousness, higher frequency. And what's going on is I believe we are now experiencing the merging of two timelines. This is another aspect of probably who you are in a parallel type of dimension or um, multiverse. That's wow. Wow. I know I've been seeing my white mantis. Last time I saw her, um, was the first time I saw her years ago, 20 2015. I was at my friend's house and my baby was sleeping on my chest and I was on the floor and I opened my eyes because I felt a movement. I opened my eyes and on the ceiling was a mantis bigger than me. It was just on the ceiling, holding the ceiling and its head completely faced to me. And I was like, I'm going to close my eyes. When I open them again, you better be gone or I'm going to kill you. I thought it was evil. And so I did, and I opened my eyes and then I saw it dissolve. I haven't seen her again since. And when I Googled it, apparently they're very benevolent. They're like really high. And I was like, oh, maybe I should have asked first, like, why are you here? Who are you? Why are you here? Can I help you? No, I was just like, I'm going to close my eyes. When I open them again, if I see you, I'm going to kill you. My bad. I had aggression issues. Card number 16, what you want wants you. For those of us who want to grow, the ladder is being formed. The spiral staircase is being formed. The ability to rise is being given to us. Uh, this feels like it's being given to all of us, not just like a select chosen few. It feels like it's being given to all of us, but some of us are so busy comparing our ladder to someone else's that we're not going to utilize our ladder. It's like for Christmas, all the kids get a gift. My kids don't do this shit. I don't know what I would do if my kids did this. I'd like to think I taught them better than to do this kind of crap. But I know some kids, I've seen some kids uh, Christmas, birthday parties, whatever it is, when everyone gets a gift, they're comparing with what everyone else got, and they're like, "This is all I got. So and so got that, and that, and it's kind of like that childish behavior of not appreciating what you have and instead competing with everyone around you instead of just being grateful and enjoying that moment, enjoying what you have. I think that's a key separation. Okay. I think that's a very key component of why there's a separation that's occurring. We have the haves and the have nots. Okay. One group is grateful for what they have, the other group is dissatisfied because they don't have what everyone else has. And if you exist with that type of mindset, I'm not telling you you're wrong, but I will tell you, you will never be happy. You will never find a relationship that will fulfill you. There will never be a job that will make you feel satisfied and successful. You will never be able to own enough stuff. You will always compare. And in case you haven't heard, there will always be someone who is prettier, smarter, faster, more wealthy, have more beautiful things, better wardrobe, better car. It's just all of this. You will always find someone who is more than. And if you don't realize you are enough, you will always fall into the trap of I'm not enough. With the comparisons, that's how that works. When you compare it, you're needing to confirm, to validate that you are enough. And unless you already know that and accept that about yourself, you will always fall for that you aren't enough in some way. And that's a choice that's being made. You can make a different choice. All right. You're not wrong. You probably need to experience some of this to help you come to the realization that you no longer want to be this way. You no longer want to live this way. You're not a bad person. You just have to shift the filter, make the little bits of modifications that shift the filter. It's like when you get an eye exam, they do those little flips and turns and all those little things around the eyes. And with every single little flip and turn of that lens, that filter that's placed on your eye, your vision becomes more and more clear. That's what's going on right now. All these flips and turns and adjustments are being done. And some of us are grateful that we're getting the opportunity to get some spiritual goggles on and see with clarity, while others are like, well, how much is this going to cost? Is it going to go with my face shape? What type of frames are available? Those frames are not fancy enough. Well, okay, well, just be fucking blind then. Spend 2020 blind. That's fine with me. No biggie. No biggie. Okay, card number 27, the hunter. Oh, this is what we were just talking about. Allowing ourselves to be okay with taking only what is needed, what is necessary, and not to feel guilty for having needs, for consuming our portion of our co-created existence. This is not about living in excess. This is not about being able to dominate and take and take and take. That's a very low level type of existence. Okay. Yeah. So here goes. Again, this is what came from yesterday. Okay. Yesterday's reading, talked about this. How the tribe of Melchizedek, which we all of us are part of the Melchizedek family. It was the Melchizedek energy and template that was used to hybridize the terrestrial species here on Gaia. Humanity is a hybridized species. Okay. Oh, just tell me where I can find information. Google it your damn self. Google it your damn self. You won't find much information. That's why there's a missing link. Oh, come on. Google it your damn self. And so we are a hybridized species. All of us have angelic coding. It's just varying degrees of angelic code. Okay. Um, so they need us to participate in the official story because whatever you fixate on, that's where your energy is going to flow through. That's where it's going to go. And so if you fixate on the Hegelian dialectic, that's always in play. It's a perpetual game of Hegelian dialectic. Then you are a part of this matrix and you are a part of the system that perpetuates our suffering and slavery. Okay? Slavery never ended. It didn't. It never ended. They they simply realized, hold on. They simply realized that if we give the impression of freedom, if we give them options, they will feel free. And then they're easier to control because then we can just do some mind games, psychological warfare, Hegelian dialectic. So, yeah. Card number 38, restore and replenish. All right. I got to state it like that because I choose to. That's why. Brick. There you go. Card number 38, restore and replenish. Many of us are going to feel this. We're going to feel very, very depleted, worn out, tired of this rat race game, just not really wanting to be here. Like, what is the hell? What the hell is the point of this? I've had so many people feeling this way. You're not alone. You're not alone. But here's the thing. Okay, so you can definitely curl up in a ball and take some time to yourself, restore, replenish. However you choose to cope is how you choose to cope, and no one gets to judge you for that. Okay, as long as you're not intentionally harming or hurting anyone else, you cope in whatever way you feel, regardless of what people agree or not, that's doesn't matter. Okay. But here's the thing, as long as you're in that curled up state, you're going to be you're going to keep getting messages from soul to get you guidance how to get out of that state. But if you're curled up, the messages keep being sent to spiritual voicemail. Okay. So you definitely don't stay in this state for too long. Allow yourself to receive those messages because those messages lead you to so many different levels of growth. Look at all these leaves, new growth. They're green. Okay. The key is in the buttons. And what do buttons do? Hold things together. So that's the key to this process, just holding it together. Telling yourself that, look, this is nothing more than a process. I'm not being punished. This isn't for lack of ability to cope. This isn't because I'm not strong enough to handle this. This is nothing more than a process. I'm going through a process. This is not permanent. The only thing that is guaranteed, death and change. Those are the only two things that are guaranteed in this life. So accept that at some point, this is going to change. Everything in your life will change. Eventually, change comes through. Okay. So card number 2, the Andean cross. This is about taking the stairs. Allow yourself to recognize you already know the direction and the steps to take to rise. Whatever direction it is, in every single direction, you have the ability to rise. Every aspect of your life, you have the ability to rise. And you don't necessarily have to fall. You can walk down the stairs if you need to revisit some lessons. You don't have to be dragged. You don't have to fall. You can choose a more compassionate way to process this growth, to process the lessons that lead to the growth. It's only when we don't listen, it's only when we don't comply with our higher selves that then it starts to do things to drag us. Okay. You don't want to be dragged by your higher self through the lesson, then walk it. But first you gotta stretch. Okay. Stretch it out. You gotta stretch it out. You don't want to injure your hamstring. You don't want to injure yourself. And that's, ooh, that's another thing. Wow, that's deep. We have these people, individuals who want to be seen so desperately as having some sort of elevated spiritual value, some spiritual clout. And really, what method are they using to gain some type of notoriety? Social media clout. That's all. Clout chases. These clout chases. Is that still a term? They're clout chasing. But that's the thing, though. They're so desperate to be seen as spiritual, barely understanding the truth of spirituality, just like using key terms to sound and appear spiritual. And it's like those people who want to be seen as a yogi. They'll do yoga and they'll try and force themselves into some crazy yoga position that their muscles are not conditioned for. And then they end up hurting themselves. They end up pulling something, dislocating something. That's kind of what's going on to a lot of people. They force themselves into postures, spiritual postures that they just weren't ready for. And then they get injured. And then they start blaming other people. Oh, it's so-and-so. They took my abundance. No, boo-boo. You tried to do the splits and your ass can't even. You can't even. You hurt yourself. You hurt yourself, you know? That's kind of a lot of the struggles that are in the second group, the non-grateful group. They need to practice more stretching. They are not as flexibly strong as they believe themselves to be. And it's not that they're worse. It's not that anyone else is better. It's that they keep injuring themselves and saying it's someone else. If you're one of those people, kind of just recognize your patterns, okay? Allow yourself to shift out of that. Allow yourself to just very gently shift out of it, okay? That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. So, for those who need to stretch and haven't been stretching, shift out of it. Just know your nipple showing. Your nipple popped out. And then ready but waiting. So, the other group is ready but waiting. Notice the difference. Notice the difference. There's no forcing in the other group. The other group is just like, I'm contained. I have much of my beauty kind of covered by this cloak. Okay. Much of my beauty is covered by this cloak. I don't have to put on display my power. I don't have to make a huge show of it. And for those that do need to make a huge show of it, okay, that's you. But I'm over here. I'm ready, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting for my emotional and mental maturity to bring me to a place where I can come out of this rest and replenishment phase. And that's okay. You don't have to always be go, go, go. Because it's also important to recognize those who are always go, 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 they're really just super busy, oftentimes to avoid the stillness. If you're constantly busy, constantly preoccupied, then you just don't have any time to sit in stillness. There's constant flux. And sometimes we have to recognize, and I'm part of this group, where that constant go, go, go is actually it's not helping you to grow. That go, go, go is more of a form of avoidance. It's a very evolved type of avoidance, but it's still avoidance is the thing. We have to make sure that we don't avoid the very lessons that we need to see here and now. The avoidance is what causes us to intensify the struggle with the lesson. So if you allow yourself to just kind of flow with it, be present, walk away from the things that don't serve you, the things that's trying to manipulate you into bringing to fruition events, um, interaction, circumstance, situationships that will simply create more struggle for you, walk away from it. Walk away from it. If you need to kind of pull back and get real quiet within yourself, pull back, get real quiet within yourself for a little bit. Recognize that you're ready. You're ready to reclaim the greatness that you are, but you're patiently waiting. Nothing wrong with that. If you're not emotionally, mentally prepared, that's okay. That's okay. You don't need to impress anyone else. You don't need to be on anyone else's timeline. Okay? Oh, that's deep. I just heard Mikey say, recognize the gravity of that statement. You don't need to be on anyone else's timeline. So if you're not ready yet, just quiet yourself down, see what you need to address, see what you need to look at, and don't go on anyone else's timeline. Don't grow based off of someone else's expectations of where you should be. And don't go on anyone else's timeline on social media. I don't know if they still call it a timeline, but other people's profiles were once referred to as timelines. Way back when we used to walk through the snow to get to school. I'm kidding. Way back when, I don't know, do they still call it timelines? But he said, understand the gravity of that. Going on other people's profiles to see what they're doing, like frenemies and things like that, yo, that's going to get you caught up. That is so going to get you caught up. Hold on. Yeah, that's going to totally get you caught up. I'm told there's another message that I'm not seeing. Oh, wow. Okay. For those who are ready to walk your walk your spiritual path, you are so loved that the waters will be parted for you. I mean, these cards have so many meanings to them. The waters will be parted. Look at that. Wow. You don't have to remain in hiding. You don't have to see this huge body of water as being an obstacle, that this is your excuse why you can't get from one point to the other. Your soul is willing to part water to give you the most direct route. And you know what this water is? It's this human landscape we exist on. Humanity is like a sea of consciousness. Ooh, that's deep. Humanity is like a sea of consciousness, and people will be moved out of your way. You needn't have any fear of drowning. All you have to do is start walking. Wow. That's intense. That is intense. So you have wings, the oceans will be parted. I mean, what more do you need? What more do you need? You're in a state of metamorphosis at this point. You're changing everything about yourself, not with force, not to impress others, but because you're ready. If you're ready, you're ready. All right. So have no fear. The process has already been refined for you. It's something that your soul has been preparing you for. This week is going to be full of changes for a lot of us. These changes are going to be subtle changes that then lead to massive change. And it's not something you have to be afraid of. All right. Try just kind of observing, sitting and observing where your thoughts are leading you, where the actions of others that you're observing are taking your thoughts. Okay, we don't have to judge others. Well, no. Let me let me I lost my word. Let me take that back because that's wrong. We have to always utilize judgment. Judgment and condemnation are two different things, okay? Judgment helps to discern. It helps us to determine the right path to take, the interactions that are beneficial versus the interactions that are unnecessary and will lead to struggle and suffering. So it's okay to exercise judgment. Every single last one of us has judgment. Okay? Okay, let's be real here. Every single last one of us is judgmental. You need judgment to survive your life, to get from event to event. Now, what many of us are not is someone who condemns others. So, someone who says, well, I'm not judgmental, I beg to differ. You are judgmental. It's just that you possess the level of dimensional consciousness that allows you to transcend that judgment and continue the interaction instead of diverging into a state of condemnation where you're getting information about someone either through your interactions or someone else is telling you something about them. And instead of going towards the condemnation, we're like, oh, well, that's just a silly ass hoe. She's being a silly. You're like, oh, well, I hope the best for her. You pumped your brakes. You just pump, pump your brakes, your spiritual brakes, hand brakes. Pump, pump. Okay, pump your spiritual handbrake. Don't be so quick to be jumping off whatever the hell you're jumping off with your BMX. Pump the brakes. Just pump them just a little bit. Okay. So all of us are indeed judgmental. You need judgment. It's a part of discernment. And people are like, no, this blah, 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 blah. You know what? I don't give a shit. Okay. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. These are my thoughts. Whatever. Condemnation ass mofo. Okay. I got to get going. You guys, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. If you're struggling with the interactions with other people and you've been struggling for the past few days, few weeks, just know that phase is almost done. It's going to finish when you choose to shift your perception. Plain and simple. It's not going to finish because people have suddenly realized their behavior is shitty. For those that do that, your behavior is shitty. That's my judgment. Your behavior is shitty. Okay? It's okay. You're still a good person. Just be a good person somewhere else. Just be a good person somewhere else. So it's going to shift when you choose for it to shift. Drama ends when you choose to no longer participate. It's kind of hard having a boxing match when the other person won't fight, right? Won't get in the ring. It's kind of hard, right? So you don't want to have a boxing match, don't get in the ring. You have every right, authority, and ability to reject the request for participation in drama. Request denied. There you go. I'm sorry. Send another request another time. You can try again. Probably be denied again. But I'm not going to stop you. Go ahead and send as many requests as you want. Request denied. Here you go. All right, guys. Really, thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell. You guys know the fluff and frequency. I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye.